Story. Poltergeist is following me. I walked along. Mortimer, beside me. His effulgence held the black mist at bay around us. Between us is a dumpling-shaped woman in colourful leggings and a grey jumper that hung to her waist. Diane. She looked around at the thorns spiking Mortimer's effulgence, trying to penetrate it. Oh. Diane pulled out her phone. Her spindly fingers, frozen in the shape of a crescent moon, held her phone up. The screen was blank. She swiped the screen. No response. "The battery's flat," Diane said. Mortimer looked at me. "Your device will not work here." "Typical. I just wanted a few photos for memories to post," Diane said. Again, she looked at me, exposing a diagonal scar on her left cheek. I shook my head. Sometimes I need to be reminded how unimpressive some souls can be. Even Mortimer could not wait to reach the house. We kept walking at a steady pace. After a while, we reached the porch of the halfway house. I ascended the steps to the deck. Diane followed. Mortimer walked straight into the house. "Follow Mortimer and take a seat, please," I said. I turned to the black mist. It coiled and turned, rolling like black waves across the area. I entered and walked into the lounge to find Mortimer on his rug beside my armchair. He had his head on his paws, eyes closed. He needed to rest. The protective sphere he generated around us burns a lot of energy. Diane sat on the armchair, her hands on her crossed legs. She looked around the room. "You could do with a makeover." I took my seat and threw one leg over the other. "What are we waiting for? Tell me where to go next." "Go on. I've got things to do," Diane said. "I am waiting for the penny to drop." I peered at Diane. Diane looked at the fireplace. She shuffled her legs to put the lower leg over the top one, turning slightly away from me. "I don't know why I ended up here. I was good." I kept my gaze on her. There was something in my house that wouldn't leave me alone. It just happened. I wasn't doing anything special. I got home after work, sat down in front of the TV to check my subscribers on my phone. Made a brief video and put my phone on the coffee table. Then got up to make something to eat, and then sat back down again in front of the TV. I glanced at my phone, only it wasn't there. I thought it might have fallen on the floor, so I looked around. It wasn't there. I looked in my bag. It wasn't there. Searched my sofa, thinking it must have fallen down the side, but it wasn't there either. "Where did you find it?" "It was on the table next to the front door, just above my son's plimsolls." Diane squeezed her damaged hand with her left hand. I was tired, so I didn't think anything of it. I grabbed my phone and went and sat down again. My video feed wasn't doing too badly, so I responded to some comments and then went to bed. Had an early start the next day. Had to get another video in before I went for work. I peered at Diane. "Oh, I'm a lifestyle influencer." She rubbed the side of her crushed hand. "Doing really well too." It was, anyway. I was all done. One more TikTok short and I was ready for bed. Put my phone on the bedside cabinet, plugged it in to charge. Got to sleep. I was zonked. Then the phone just played a song. Blasting it, it shook me. I grabbed my phone, hit the sleep button. Don't know what all that was about. I don't even know why it went off. It just did. I looked at Diane, and then glanced at the fireplace. That song, it was Mummy, I'm Hungry, by D-Side. It's the same song I was making a dance video to the other day. Got loads of hits. The video. Diane shook her head. Anyway, I put the phone down and went to bed. Barely nodded off, and then I heard a massive crash downstairs. I got up, grabbed my phone, and went to have a look. I thought someone had broken in. Might need to call the police. I stopped in the middle of the stairs, but everything seemed okay. so I creeped down slowly towards the kitchen. And there it was. The place was in a mess. Milk all over the floor, cereal everywhere, and a bowl smashed to bits. The fridge was open as well. I don't know what the hell happened. It was weird. Bugger that, I thought. I'm too tired to clean that up now. I'll do it in the morning. Better close the fridge though. So I did that and went back upstairs. Morning came. I got up early, almost slipped on the milk. Lily went down like a sack of potatoes. I'll get to the cleanup after work. Still got a video to do before I left. For my channel, you see, I gotta post regularly if I want to keep the subscribers coming up. So I set everything up in the bathroom and ready to record. That was when this happened. Diane touched a scar on her cheek. I had all the lights and cameras set up in the bathroom. I was applying eyeliner when scissors flew through the air. Whack! It went straight past my cheek, cutting it. Scared the crap out of me. So I left. I grabbed my phone and left the flat. I tried to get to the front door, but a chair swiped me off my feet. Crash! I landed on my hip. It really hurt. My phone slid out my hand. I crawled to it and grabbed it, but the table edge came down on my hand, crushing it. Look. Diane held up her spindly hand that had fingers pulling in an awkward direction. The shape of a crescent moon. I kept watching her. I pushed the table off my hand and grabbed my phone and kept crawling to the door. Whack, whack, whack. My umbrella kept pounding me in the side. Hard to breathe. I couldn't see what was attacking me, but it hated me. I managed to get outside. That's when things stopped. I still didn't know what was going on, but needed to check my new video. Priorities and all that, you see. My channel's doing well, I can't stop now. I had a look, and it was doing well, so I kind of forgot about the crap in the house. Diane smiled. She looked at the flames in the fireplace. Black mist rolled into the lounge, coiling and twisting. A tentacle reached up to my ear and whispered. Diane was in her own little world. She was unaware of its presence. "Excuse me, be back shortly," I said. "Any chance of a low-fat latte? I'm parched." I stopped and peered at her. Diane turned away. I strode out the lounge. Mortimer's ears rose, listening. Black mist filtered into the room. It filled the edges and gathered there, slowly growing denser. Diane's gaze remained fixed on the flames in the fireplace. I walked out of the lounge and straight onto the porch, where I stopped and looked out at the mass of black mist. Sparks flew in its midst as a grey sphere floated there. Mist tentacles and thorns attacked the sphere from all sides. Crank, shift, rip. The sphere held its own as it spiked back, dueling, twisting and shifting, ripping. Sparks ignited as it did, speeding up, slowing down, rotating, protruding. The sphere shifted its own thorns and spikes, digging at the black mist tentacles, ripping them. Flashes of light lit up the fog, making it cower as the sphere hovered towards the house. It was very angry. It came to the porch and stopped before the steps. "Come in," I said. The sphere floated to the first step, waited, still hovering. It moved past the threshold, and it changed into a pale 6-year-old boy, thin, in shorts and a t-shirt and socks. He ascended the stairs and stood before me. "Hello, little one," I said. "Hello, what's your name?" he said. "They call me Guardian." "And you are Paul," he nodded. "Please come in," I gestured to the waiting room. Paul entered the house. He walked into the waiting room where it changed into a soft play area. A cacophony of kids playing all around him filled the room. To one side there was a small table and chair, children's size. It had a slice of pizza on a paper plate and a carton of orange juice. Paul turned and looked at me. I nodded. He walked straight to the table and sat down and took a bite out of the slice of pizza. Colour returned to his cheeks, slowly seeping in. I returned to the lounge and sat down. Diane was still clutching her phone. "Is this going to take long?" she said. "That is up to you." She put the phone in her lap and rubbed a damaged hand. Outside my flat, I was fine. Things seemed to stop. I'm still not sure what it was that was coming at me. Got in my car and made a quick video of what just happened. My subscribers got in touch and some were saying it's a ghost, a poltergeist. I should get out of there. That was the advice. I don't even know what a polter thing is. I know, I thought to myself. I'll go to Mum's. So I started the car and drove. Got out the drive. I started to calm down a bit. Turned left on the main road and kept going until I hit a dual carriageway. I was driving along, feeling a little better. In the slow lane, just taking it easy. For some reason, I looked in the mirror and saw him. The steering wheel jerked to the left, carrying me straight into the side of the bridge. Whack, I felt something burst. Blood poured out my nose and mouth. Diane wiped her nose as blood trickled out. She touched her lips. They were wet with blood. "Saw Paul, my son. He was sat there in the back." The song, "Mummy, I'm Hungry," played in the waiting room. It drifted into the lounge, a contemporary melody that reflected 2023. Personally, I did not see any genius in it at all. It appeared to be made by a computer. Diane looked at me. Paul stood at the doorway of the lounge, his hands by his side. He looked a little bit more vibrant. Black mist had filled the sides of the room, 5 feet high. The room appeared a little darker. He kept his distance from Paul, who watched it for a few seconds. Diane noticed me looking at the entrance. She turned to see Paul. She stood up. "What are you doing here? Told you to keep away from me." Mist tentacles grew, creeping towards Diane. Paul looked at his mum. "Told you would ruin everything. Look at you. That's what you did." Diane's eyes turned red. Paul took a step back. "I'm going to smack you so hard you wish you were never born." Diane lunged for Paul. Flash. Tentacles shot out and wrapped themselves around Diane's ankles and arms. Mortimer pounced, knocking her down. He went and stood beside Paul. "Just wanted some cereal, Mum." "You spilt the milk again. You smashed my glass bowl. Do you know how much that cost?" Paul turned and showed his side to his mother. A glass shard the size of a fist was stuck in his ribs, dried blood around the wound. He was becoming pale again. "You did this." Paul stood there. You, Mum." Diane tried to get up, but the mist tentacles held her in place. "You will pay, you little bastard. I was doing so well. I was going to be famous. You took that away from me. I hate you. I hate you." Paul looked at his mother. The type of a look a son gives a mum when he loves her with all his heart. Yet she does not feel the same way. I have seen that look many times. Too many times. "Take her to the basement, second door to the left. Anything will be better than seeing that snotty-nosed idiot," Diane said. Paul watched his mother dragged out the room, feet first. She glared at him all the way. I crouched down to look him in the eyes. "I will be back in a minute. Stay here with Mortimer." Mortimer rubbed his nose on Paul's chest. Paul nodded and stroked him. I left the room and descended the stairs and turned left. Black mist had pinned Diane to the floor outside the second door. It disapparated as I approached. Diane got up. I opened the door to reveal a television studio. Diane's eyes lit up. For me, I knew TikTok would get me here. You will have what you most crave, a show of which you are the star. Watched constantly, never a moment of reprieve. That is what you desire. Diane nodded. Please enter. Diane stepped through the door. Within seconds, a mob of 6-year-olds rushed into the studio. Several of them grabbed Diane by the arms. Time for makeup, a little girl said. Diane tried to break free. Get off me! The children held fast, dragging her to a chair. One sat on her lap. The others applied makeup forcefully. "Ah, that hurts!" Diane shouted as a boy jabbed an eyeliner pen straight into her eye. Cameras pulled in, framed her. Her face displayed on a screen attached to the ceiling above. She watched as children tore, ripped, cut her, applying makeup and dressing her. I shut the door and strode to the staircase. Mortimer and Paul waited in the lounge as I entered. "Where's Mummy?" "She's working on a video. She will not return for a while. Time for you to come with me, young one." Paul nodded and followed me as I ascended the staircase. Mortimer walked behind him. We climbed up to the temple floor and walked out on the balcony. Above us, the sky was a little brighter. The Divine Mother waited there. I looked at Paul. Divine Mother disapparated. Moments later, she appeared in corporeal form on the balcony, radiant as ever, but more a woman rather than divine. "She is waiting for you," I said. Paul looked at the Divine Mother at the edge of the balcony. She smiled at him. "Do you have cereal?" Paul asked. "Would you like to share a big bowl with me?" Divine Mother said. Paul looked at her and nodded. I touched my heart and gave him a gentle nod. He smiled and walked over to her. She offered her hand. He took it. A second later, they disapparated. The balcony was dark again. This mother will not forsake him. He will be loved like every child should be. I smiled to myself and descended the staircase, followed by Mortimer. Today was a good day. A little better than most. See you next Sunday at 11, and I'll introduce you to another guest. Stay safe. Godspeed.